These are the boats you hear about on D-Day, the assault landing boats that run from the ship to the enemy beach. They transport fighting men and fighting equipment ashore. Then they go back for more guns and tanks and men to keep the battle moving until the enemy is smashed. These are busy boats on D-Day. These are the boats you don't hear about. These are the ones that get stranded. They get stuck on sandbars or broached by heavy surf. They may get broached or swamped if the motor fails. They are a hazard to the boats that follow, and they would be a loss if it were not for the work of salvage boats. The salvage boat is put into the water along with the other landing boats, and it remains with them until they land to make sure they get into shore and back to sea again. This is the salvage boat, an LCPL, landing craft personnel large. Once it was used as an assault landing boat itself. Now it is used principally to salvage other landing boats which become stranded during an assault. One salvage boat should accompany each 15 landing boats. The boat has been rigged for fast operation, and it's manned by a crew of experts. For it's up to the crew to take the salvage boat through surf that stranded other boats, and then get out to sea again and take the stranded boat along. The coxswain has to be well trained in handling the boat in heavy surf in order to beach and retract his boat properly. The boat carries 2 deckhands. These deckhands have many duties, one of which is to make up the heaving line. Several heaving lines should be carried, always made up and ready for use. The heaving line is thrown into a stranded boat so the heavy tow line can be hauled aboard. This tow line is coiled for the most part in the line rack aft, 150 fathoms of line to tow a stranded boat off the beach. The part of the tow line which the line rack does not hold is coiled on deck amidships. Sometimes it will be impossible to heave a line to a stranded boat by hand. Then the line throwing gun is used. This gasoline handy billy is especially useful when water has to be pumped out of a boat quickly. And just in case the pumping isn't fast enough, the crew can turn to with buckets. Most messages will be sent by semaphore. Therefore, a trained signalman is needed. However, a radio man with a portable radio is also carried during the operation. The engineer must keep the boat running under all conditions, and the need for a boat officer who can make accurate and rapid decisions is vital. In addition, a hospital corpsman may be carried. His equipment should include litters for injured men taken from a stranded boat. The salvage boat flies the sugar flag, the flag that stands for salvage. When the assault boats load with troops and proceed to the rendezvous area, the salvage boat goes with them. And when the signal is given to proceed to the line of departure, the salvage boat is ready to go to work. All the way into the line of breakers, the salvage boat trails its assigned wave. But when the assault boats enter the surf, the salvage boat turns and starts its patrol outside the line of breakers. A call for a salvage job may come to it here by radio or by semaphore. But the salvage boat crew must be alert at all times. For when they see a boat in trouble, they don't wait for orders. They start action immediately. And speaking of boats in trouble, here's a good example. This LCVP has broached and is stranded. It's in the way of incoming boats. This is a job for salvage. The boats start in as soon as the crew sees the situation. The men stand by, ready to heave a line to the stranded boat. Notice the 2 lines are ready. If the first line misses, a second line is thrown immediately. The salvage boat comes in on the down current side of the LCVP. Then, if the coxswain loses control of his boat, the current will set him away from the stranded boat. The The crew of the LCVP haul the tow line into their boat quickly, and when it's aboard, they place it over the towing bollard at the stern. This must be done smartly to prevent the line from fouling screw or rudder. As soon as the heaving line is in the stranded boat, the salvage boat retracts. During retraction, the deckhands are paying out the tow line. Notice how the boat retracts with its stern into the incoming breakers. When the boat is held this way, there's no danger of broaching. And with the stern to sea, less water gets into the boat. The boat retracts this way until she's well beyond the breaker line. Meanwhile, the coxswain of the stranded boat is gunning his motor forward. When he does this, his screw will cut a channel in the sand under the skate. He does this when the water is receding. When the water surges in again, he cuts his motor. The water will float his stern and lift it, and the skate can then slide seaward through the channel he's dug. But as soon as the screw drops back into the sand, he guns her forward again to dig a deeper channel to help the salvage boat pull him free of the beach. But the salvage boat won't begin to tow until it's out beyond the line of breakers. In fact, until she's beyond this line, the coxswain won't turn her about for fear of broaching or fouling the screw. But as soon as she turns, the tow line must be secured. A couple of turns around the nearest fairlead post will hold it temporarily. Then it's secured to the towing bollard aft. And a turn can be taken about the Samson post on either side of the towing bollard. As the boat comes about, the temporary turns around the fairlead post are cast off. The line is handled to keep it from fouling the screw. The coxswain takes the slack up gradually and without jerking to prevent parting it. And when the line is taut, the towing begins. All this time, the coxswain of the stranded boat keeps gunning forward. The deeper he digs that channel beneath his skag, the easier it'll be to tow him off the beach. When the surf lifts his stern, the salvage boat can move him seaward. Notice that the coxswain does not back down. The action of his screw in reverse will cause the skag to sink into the sand again. With a strong, steady pull maintained like this, the LCVP is pulled free of the beach and through the surf, slowly to prevent swamping. The coxswain of the stranded boat handles the wheel as though he were retracting himself. This keeps the stern of his boat square into the surf, and his boat is easier to control. Any boat that is broadside to the surf may get swamped. The salvage boat keeps towing until the stranded boat is beyond the breaker line. If the stranded boat is in any way disabled, it'll be towed until it's out of the operating area. It will not be left in the way of other boats. The salvage boat stops to allow slack in the tow line, and the tow line is cast off by the LCVP. Then the salvage boat moves forward quickly until the tow line is clear of the operating area. The line is hauled in and made ready for the next operation. And the heaving line is returned by the stranded boat. Or if that boat is out of operation, the salvage boat will retrieve its own line. The salvage boat is ready for another job. The salvage boat will handle all boats in essentially the same way. But a heavy surf makes the salvage operation more difficult. This is the LCM-3, a 22-ton tank lighter. Not only is this a heavier boat than the LCVP, but there's no centerline towing bollard at the stern. Instead, there are two Samson posts, one at each side of the stern. Now, obviously, a tow line secured to one of these Samson posts would tow the LCM at an awkward angle. But the salvage boat is equipped to take care of the situation. When the salvage boat crew sees that an LCM is stranded, the coxswain has the wire bridle broken out. This is the bridle that's used with the LCM. It's made with two legs of half-inch steel cable, and a 12-inch eye is spliced in each leg. These eyes are placed over the Samson post on the LCM. The two legs of the bridle come together and are spliced into a swivel. This prevents the bridle from twisting as the strain is thrown on one leg or the other. The swivel is secured to the tow line with a 3/4 inch common shackle. The heaving line is then secured through these two eyes of the bridle. The tow line is ready for use. The salvage boat moves in again on the down current side of the stranded boat. The heaving line is thrown and the bridle is hauled aboard the LCM. The bridle is slipped over the two Samson posts on the stern. Now the pull of the tow line will be as even as possible. Meanwhile, the salvage boat has begun to retract. As soon as it gets beyond the line of breakers, it's a simple matter to secure the tow line and start towing. As the boat swings about, the men handle the line to keep it clear of the screw. Now the LCM should have its stern squarely against the surf. The bridle, pulling evenly on both sides of the stern, will help to bring her about. But besides this, the coxswain of the LCM can operate his twin screws and help bring his boat about. By gunning both screws ahead when the water is receding, he digs the sand from under the scaggs and frees them. When the water is coming in, he stops blasting his screws ahead and lets the water lift his stern. And the salvage boat, with the equalizing pull of the bridle, will square the stern to the surf. When the LCM is squared off like this, the salvage boat can tow effectively even through heavy surf. But the tow won't be so effective if a strong current carries the salvage boat down the beach. In a position like this, the salvage boat can't pull against the surf. And if it gets turned broadside to the waves, it can be swamped. If the current prevents proper towing, then a second salvage boat should be used to counteract this drift, to take the salvage boat back up current where it can tow the LCM off the beach more quickly. The tow line of the second salvage boat must be placed over the king post on the bow of the first boat. Since both boats are already beyond the breaker line, the tow can begin almost immediately. So when the tow line is secured to the towing bollard, the second salvage boat begins to pull the first salvage boat up current again. With a down current drift counteracted this way, the first boat is able to handle the stranded boat more easily, because now it can pull the LCM against the surf and into deeper water. When the LCM is floated, the tow line of the second salvage boat can be cast off. With the LCM in deep water, the first boat can handle it alone. While his boat is being towed, the coxswain can help to keep her straight by using his rudder and his screws. In this way, the LCM is towed outside the line of breakers where she can cast off. The salvage job is finished. The LCM will proceed as directed to move off under her own power or to anchor. And on the salvage boat, the line is hauled in as fast as the men can handle it. The heaving line is secured, and the salvage boat is ready to rescue the stranded landing boats that are so vital to victory.